Brian Posehn. I used to have a podcast where I played Dungeons & Dragons with a bunch of my friends. I missed it, so I decided to make a new one. It's called Brian Posehn's Nerd Poker. It's myself, a couple of my buddies, Blaine Patch, Dan Telfer, Ken Daly, an occasional guest or two, and we're going to be playing in a new setting, my dining room. Each week you'll hear my wife, my son, my dogs, and we're going to be playing in a place that I love and playing the game that I've loved half my life, Dungeons & Dragons. We've got 5th edition, and we're ready. So are you ready? Here's Brian Posehn's Nerd Poker.
Hey guys, it's Rose Posehn from Brian Posehn's Nerd Poker.
What do you say? Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Here's episode 35.
Here's episode 35. Oh my god, there's a lot of episodes.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Rhodes.
Thanks, Rhodes.
Bye.
Bye, pal. Hey, everybody. It's Brian Posehn. That was my adorable son. Now he's dabbing as he's looking at us.
Oh, yeah. Dab it up. Oh, yeah.
Hey, watch this. I'm going to dab knee. Oh, it's me, Buffalo Bill. That's all I got.
That was Blaine with a Dabney Coleman reference to start the show.
Maybe I should have gone with
Ken?
Gerald McRaney.
Yeah.
Dan
Yes.
and Blaine are my friends here with me.
We're happy to be here, I
We're
think.
talking about, should we say what we're talking about doing and then soon?
Why not? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what you're saying, but...
Are making this a little one more person and a person that we love.
Yeah.
We're
Ryan,
really
are
hoping
you pregnant?
put it out in the universe. We really want Sarah Gazzardo to be regular here with us, and,
Yes.
and we're talking to her about that, about making this a 4-person team with our DM. Well, 5 total, obviously, but
She misses the crew.
we miss her. Yeah, and she misses being a part of the game. So.
And she's her 2 kids that she left the podcast to go raise are now close
They're
enough
all
to
18 years old, yeah.
Yeah, they have that weird disease that makes them 18 in a couple of years.
Yep.
But yeah, this campaign
George
is
Burns
this campaign is definitely like on the back end, I think.
Oh shit! Don't say that. I hope we're not playing new characters with her, but we hope to get her in here soon.
Well, we're at this fun part where like you guys have experienced a giant chunk of the plot, and it could go on for quite a while. But at the same time, you've witnessed at least one apocalypse, so
Right.
it's like
Right, and we are trying to end this Demelith, which brings us to before we do a catch up on where we are, I have. Do you want to do Patreon?
Let me do some
first?
quick Patreon shout outs. Thank you to Greasy Meats.
The best kind of meats.
Thank you, Steel Stolberg.
The best kind of Stolbergs.
Thanks, Darren Ashdown. And
That's not funny.
It's not funny. Although
great name.
right now there's like 3 major fires in the Los Angeles area, so we've all seen a little bit of Ashdown today.
Yeah, a lot today.
And thank you, Cheesy B.
Cheesy B.
All right,
Thanks,
well, you
you
got
guys.
some extra special shout outs you want to do, right, Brian?
Yeah, so a couple of notes I've been given. One is from a guy in San Antonio, English teacher, comedy fan, came to my show, Zach Sokolsky. He's a listener to the show and a big fan. Anyway, he gave me some cash for the show. And then we've got Jordan. How would you pronounce that?
Fjorden.
Aguirre?
Aguirre.
Jordan Aguirre sent me a great note. It's like 3 pages. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, P.S. What was that guy's name in the wheelchair with that big dick? Don't say anything.
Don't say it.
But thanks, Jordan. Well, yeah, I'm trying to see. To Ken, your Vin Diesel impression cracks me up every time. I always enjoyed your laugh on the podcast. Please do your impression of a baby coming, I guess.
No.
That's a baby coming. All right. We haven't heard
And
that
now
one in
a
a while.
baby going.
Thanks, Jordan. And so what happened in episode 34?
You guys kind of raced the Demelith as he caught on to your location, and you ran into an underground cave. You've got the intention of rewinding the clock of Amynna. Amynna is sort of isolated from Armageddon, so it's existing on its own sort of independent timeline outside of time and space. And you know by going into these caves that the drow had sort of created a long time ago that you can kind of go back in time.
Right.
You know you can go back in time that way. You know if you try to leave the island and get to sort of the edge of the ocean, Manon and McLear can kind of speed up time. So there's sort of two ways you can affect time, and you've got with you Forenmeyer and some of his wood elves, and Luoven, a lunar elf, a really creepy-ass looking piranha alien-ish kind of spin on elves.
And we just had some elves die on us as we were running in, right? Yeah.
The Demelith manifested itself as sort of a black spire thing and slammed a hand down on top of some of your elven friends. They would splat.
Where exactly were we inside?
We walked in the
and then
door.
we found a door.
Yeah,
With
you
a bunch of one-eyed
went down the tunnel, and so you got them
One-eyed?
These you got these drow to open a door, and the guy who was manning the door had two eyes, but then you see a cluster of about 10 drow soldiers. They're in some what look like actually fairly normal drow armor, but they're definitely soldiers. They're about half men, half women, and they've all got one eye.
Okay.
And Luoven says to you guys kind of in hushed tones, you know, I have some experience dealing with drow. I don't know if you want to let me handle some of these negotiations.
What about you?
What about me?
What kind of experience do you have dealing with drow?
Well, you know what? I can. I'm gonna lay tongues on myself and go up to the window and start talking to them. And
Or are we caught up
You're
now
through.
yet?
You're
through the
caught up
door.
and you're through the door.
Okay.
You,
Well, I'm
you
still-
just
convinced
negotiated your way
just-
through the door.
I'm still gonna do
Just
it.
thought since we have...
That's not a bad idea. Sure.
It's
sure.
a bad idea. That way, I can talk to these guys in their native tongue, and they'll feel a little closer to me. And then when I'm in there, zing, zoom, timeshare.
Cool. So you cast tongues on yourself, and you actually are suddenly able to hear what sounded just sort of like murmuring. And you hear they're speaking.
I thought I heard Mavis whine, but she's not underneath.
No,
It's a haint.
you hear one of them is speaking High Drow, which is a kind of a more complicated, ancient version of the Drow language, but you recognize it because you cast tongues, and you now feel fairly confidently that if you spoke High Drow, they would all understand you.
Okay.
Key in. What do you want to tell these guys?
Before we do that, I just want to say that our engineer Sam makes the show extra nerdy. He's actually reading comic books while he records a DM
He's
Dungeons and Dragons
He's actually
podcast.
got a book that came out at DC while I've been working there, so that's actually like
It's
fun to
pretty
look.
amazing.
look over.
This show is not nerdy enough for him. He has to read comical books while we go.
That's
And he's a Cylon.
that's the Watchmen sequel. I hope you enjoy it. Written by Jeff Johns. I
Get back in. Sorry.
So,
I just made an
command.
observation.
This is literally as nerdy as it gets. So you know they're speaking High Drow.
Right.
What do you want to do about it, Twee?
Hey, we need to get off of this. We need to go back to a certain point in time, right?
What did we told him last episode? I forget. Had we started to tell
All you
them
had said
that?
is that you didn't want to pick a fight. You just wanted to kind of move through and
Oh,
come
right.
back above ground.
Oh, okay. So we
And-
hadn't told him what we were here.
Vaguely told him. You didn't play all your cards. Tom
Sort of muscled our way
Sorry to
in.
interrupt.
Tom kind of used his high charisma to persuade them to open the door because
Oh, right,
they
right.
did speak common.
Okay, so So,
but you're going to go and take a pass at High
yeah.
Drow and see if they are endeared to you.
Yeah, we would just like to kind of get through here without any sort of problems. Has anybody ever come down here from the top that has given you problems before? What's going on up there?
They say, yeah, they go ahead and send one of these over to you, a warrior named Tarek comes over, and she says, yeah, thank you for the sign of respect. We have raiders come down here a lot. Amynna's got a lot of really bad news bears. There's a lot of people who are sort of creepy and self-righteous, and that's why we got to kind of keep watch over the cave doors. We're unstuck in time down here, so like this underground exists in a time separate from above ground.
Weird.
So every time you come down here, you could be encountering us at a different time in our history. But right now, I can tell you this: we see people come to this door all the time. We don't let them all in. Sometimes we even banish drow to the above ground.
Who's the last drow you banished? Do any of those guys come back?
They try to come back, but we have pretty strict rules down here. We are allowed to exist out of time because we have our own god, and they created a special set of rules that enable this section of the Underdark to exist after the world has been destroyed.
Oh, well, gerrymandering. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Little
now-
Underdark gerrymandering.
Hey, what's the? Do you guys? So you understand like where we can go and how we can control what time we go back to, right?
They say yes. People try to manipulate time all the time. We have control over two caves. There's the way you came, which we heard some noise coming from the back of the cave as you came down. That was rather interesting. Not sure what condition you left that entrance, but if you stay with us long enough, it perhaps will open up again if it caved in. There's also a cave that heads to the north that we have control over. There are other caves, but much of our city collapsed during the calamity, and so some of the underground caves that the drow built many, many centuries ago are isolated around Amynna. But you've happened upon the largest drow settlement that's underground. We don't believe in going above ground.
You guys can see the future, right? What happens?
Actually, we don't. We believe that once you've gone above ground, you're not allowed to come back. Our God has allowed us to stay underground and alive, and
as long as you don't get stuck in regular
as long as we don't go above ground, we're allowed to continue to exist in a limited way. So we don't know what happens. We've decided to sort of make our stand down here in the Underdark and keep a civilization as long as we can.
And what do you know about what's going on upstairs?
We know of the Demelith. We know he is responsible for a great many things. Our god is working on its own plan to counter the Demelith. We're very lucky in that we have a drow god here among us, but it's a very, very weak god, dead god. So it knows all, but does not have much influence over the physical realm.
Good God.
There's a wood elf. I can't remember her name.
You mean the lunar elf?
The lunar elf.
Luoven? Yeah.
Luoven. Does Luoven know how far back we need to go and whether it's more important to unify the planet again?
Or just go back in
time and stop
that
that guy.
Luoven thinks you guys.
What's his name?
Horo, yeah.
Horo
She thinks you guys have
being turned or sacrificed.
Pieced together a good plan. Head back up of just about a couple of weeks, grab Horo, and then her suggestion last episode was something along these lines. I'll let you guys sort of decide if you want to take this advice. But once you nab Horo, to maybe take him either farther back in time or maybe do something about the Demelith around the time he arrived in Amynna. She thinks if you truly want to go home again, you're going to need to rewind the world about 1,500 years anyway.
Yeah.
because that's when the Demelith came to Amynna and shrouded the island in storm.
You can turn
And
the
when
world on with a smile.
That's when the lunar elves broke the planet or
Right.
Yes.
crashed the sun.
Yes. Crashed the moon into the
Crashed the
planet.
moon.
Yeah, but we haven't been here 1,500 years.
No.
No, but the thing is, when word got out that there was adventure to be had in Amynna, a storm had just sort of risen over the island. You guys didn't know it was a magical storm. But as you sort of passed through the storm, it was like hitting a roulette wheel as to how, what time you would land on the island, and you hit 1,500 years in the future.
Okay.
And we're separated from our own
Right, we had
timeline.
started
so
to
we
talk
need
about
get
that
back
Yeah,
last week.
yeah. It's all a bit convoluted, almost as if the dungeon master spent several months toiling away at the lore of this island, and then was just praying for an excuse to find an NPC that could communicate it. But
I was jet skiing, brah.
everybody, do a perception check for me, please. There's a lot going on, and I just want to see which of you deserve to know what.
I got a 2.
So, Tom, you kind of just
Things seem cool.
fold your arms, and you kind of
Got
high
11.
five yourself. You got 11?
11.
With your bonus?
Netted.
Yeah.
I am Groot.
Brian, you're going to roll for real this time?
Yeah. 20.
Oh, for fudge's sake.
You know everything about everything all of a sudden.
Let's see. What's the most special thing I can tell you about the conversation? So,
Doubly perceived.
I'm going to say that, Twee, as you're translating things back and forth to these guys, Bodhi, you pick up on something. You know, you've all been kind of having a conversation with Luoven at the same time because she's sort of the most knowledgeable person in your party about the underground caves that turn back time. Mm-hmm. And whenever Twee relates back to you guys something about the dead god, you notice Luoven's ears have been perking up, and she seems kind of antsy. Just antsy. She's got a really spooky face with big pupil-less eyeballs and sharp teeth, and she's got that pale glowing skin, so you already are kind of like it's hard to read her face.
Yum.
She's almost got like sort of built-in difficulty communicating with her facial muscles, but her ears kind of twitch whenever the dead god topic comes up, and she kind of looks like conflicted about something. But she's been very submissive since you bumped into her, so she looks like she might be holding something back. You're not sure about it, but
What is she holding back? Oh, that's me perceiving.
you're
that.
perceiving
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So,
You ask her what she knows about the dead god. I guess.
yeah. What do you know about this god?
I don't know for sure, but they seem to imply the dead god is here. If it's not too much trouble, I think depending on how far a trip it is, maybe we could see about talking to this dead god.
Yeah, Twee, you want to ask these guys if we can talk to their dead god?
Yeah.
Or do we need to ask them?
They can hear what you say in common,
Right,
but Twee has been kind of stepping up and getting you guys some bonus points by speaking in high drow to them. So they're all kind of nodding as you talk, but if you wanted to make like a declaration in high drow, they might take
High
it more
drow.
seriously.
Those are good cookies.
They're kind of waiting to see if Twee says anything because he's been so formal, but if he doesn't, they might give you a response without it.
Go ahead.
We would love it if you would help us. We would be honored and delighted if you could assist us in our quest to get back to where we're supposed to be. Because bobbing around like a cork in time, who needs it really? Come on, you guys know where I'm coming from.
Do a persuasion roll, difficulty 12.
Yep.
17.
Hell yes. So,
He rolled a 17. 17.
So the one you've been talking to kind of nods and she says, yes, if you spend, about a day with us and then head back up, I believe you'll get to the time in question. The day is relative. You might want to stick close to one of us to be able to tell how long time has been passing. We we're attuned to the way time passes down here. It seems your friend there with the big gross eyeballs seems to be attuned as well. She might be able to help you. I also hear you had some conversation about our dead god. I don't know if you wanted to include that in your time down here, but if you do,
is there an extra
we would
charge?
like to know what you exactly intend.
Yeah, what does she think we could learn from the dead god? What is
She seems
Llewellyn?
real bashful about it, but really antsy. Like she just kind of wants to meet it.
Tell her that we have to tell them what we think we can learn from it.
You know, I think it would be an honor and a privilege to be able to learn from your dead god.
Roll another persuasion. This one difficulty 15.
16.
Well, geez, Louise. So they say very well. Our dead god is in a chamber farther underground. It may speed time up a little bit to visit it, and we would ask that you be accompanied by some of us, as the god is very weak, and I don't know what damage you could really do to it, but we have a certain sense of pride. So if
It's okay. I met Peter Boyle once. I know what it's
Really?
like. Yeah, I know what it's like.
that's pretty awesome. He was a Second City guy. I saw him from a distance one time.
He was a fucking young Frankenstein.
Did you watch that over the last Halloween at all?
No, not really.
We watched it at the Mad office. Bill Morrison played it on a TV in his office, and we all gathered around in his office and just fucking watched Young Frankenstein at the Mad Magazine office.
Terrible job. Sounds
You know who's terrible?
so
Madeline Kahn. Ew.
It was so amazing.
Kidding,
that
she's the best.
They made a parody of a 30s movie in the 70s that was note for note perfect, plus fart jokes.
Oh yeah.
Because it's completely made with love and admiration for the original thing, I think.
It was just such a remarkable effort to make it look that authentic. This
Yeah.
black and white, slowly paced horror movie plus silly weenus jokes, Borscht Belt weenus jokes. God, yeah, it was
Yeah, I watched it just in the last year again. Love that thing. It still holds up. Yeah.
so holds up. There's nothing dated about it.
You know they're rebooting it with Shia LaBeouf.
I think it's my favorite of Mel's movies.
I have a soft spot for Spaceballs just because it was actually in theaters when I was the right age. But
Yeah,
I do
a lot of that stuff doesn't.
It doesn't
I
probably
watched
hold
it.
up, though, yeah.
I watched it with Rhodes, and he loved all the balls jokes. Boy, there are a lot of those.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
There's a lot of stuff he didn't get, thank God. But yeah,
I've always
Young
really
Frankenstein.
loved. I love Young Frankenstein, but I've always really loved the producers just because of how
Producers is great.
Yes.
everybody in the movie is fucking crazy.
I think Blazing Saddles
Like, that was also great.
is awesome, but what's the
I'll,
one that's kind of overrated?
Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
Oh God!
I'll put my hand
that's
up for
not
high anxiety.
rated
I love
wrong
high
at
anxiety.
all.
Anxiety is great too.
Very correctly rated.
Yeah. No, High Anxiety. Is
What
great.
did you just say, Blaine?
Great
Yeah,
hits.
they're
all-
Hits all the Hitchcock
High anxiety, yeah.
visuals and stuff. And yeah.
Dick Van Patten. I feel like I'm caught in a web.
Yeah. If you love me, baby, tell me loud, loud.
Loud. And then, oh my God. Kurt Weitzman, a comedian from San Francisco,
Yeah.
had a world's best joke. 8 is enough. Totally unrealistic premise for a TV show. Who would fuck Dick Van Patten 8 times? Kurt Weitzman, San Francisco.
It's been too long since we had a good Dick Van Patten joke on the
Oh man, it's one of my favorite jokes of anyone of all time.
Blakey, shut up.
We need a little more Cocker Spaniel also in this episode.
Yeah.
Would you believe if I said you?
So,
Not Joe Cocker
Ken.
Spaniel.
No, Joe Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, boy.
All right.
two
Go to Post
drow,
Friends.
two drow escort you down a spiral stone staircase down through the caves. Kexel and Vemin. Meet Kexel and Vemin, your drow escort to the dead god. While you're headed down, Luovan kind of explains why she was so interested. She, just pledged to a new god, Manon and McLear.
Right.
Her whole people did. I mean, it's a fairly recent development for her, and she knows Manon and McLear is weak, and so she doesn't necessarily think this is Manon and McLear because they just said this is a drow god,
yeah.
and Manon and McLear is not a drow god, but she's like, real curious because she's just like, I haven't, my part of the caves don't connect to this Underdark city. I've never really met these drow. This is, I'm used to going back in time, but this is all very new to me. So I just want to absorb some information.
Okay.
Does
anybody getting a vibe off Llewellyn other than what she's saying?
She seems twitchy. But she seems pretty sincere. I don't know if you want to do anything about it while you're heading down the stairs, but I'll go ahead and give you the opportunity if you want to pause and think about it.
what can we do? Detect evil?
Yeah, I guess not.
Check my scarab.
No, I guess not.
Does one of them say stay close to the candles? The stairs can be quite treacherous. On the way down.
No, there's no Cloris Leachman drow. Right, that was Cloris Leachman's line?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
He was my boyfriend.
God, that line made me laugh so hard.
It's such a. It's
She is
so dramatic.
amazing
It's such a
in that
nothing. Yeah,
movie.
she is.
She's
Fantastic.
If your knowledge of Cloris
She's
Leachman doesn't,
She's great in High Anxiety.
oh
too.
my God, her comic timing
Get
is
no fruit cup.
No fruit cup. Nurse Diesel.
All right. We're gonna pause really quick and go watch all of Mel Brooks's movies. We'll be right back.
See you in 8 hours.
So what do we see? Are we down to? Oh, are you worried? Still worried about Llewellyn? Or
I'll let it go.
all right.
So Bodhi just kind of go like, ugh, and keep going.
Speaking of let it go, how great is it that
They pulled the
Disney
movie.
pulled that Frozen
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
20 minutes?
because people were.
I haven't
angry
seen
about it.
Coco yet. It looks
I haven't either,
great,
yeah.
but
Well, now
my
that it
kids
doesn't
are
have
my kids are too skittish to see a
long
movie
before
about
it,
death.
it's good
Oh yeah.
because it wasn't a short.
No, it's 20 minutes long.
20 plus, right?
Yeah,
It
people
sounded
were
like
mad
the
'cause
most
they were-
manipulative marketing move
Yeah.
in the history of movies.
Well, but I
People
think
love
usually-
shorts, but that's a
But I think they
long.
figure
They're
people love
Pixar
Frozen.
shorts before Pixar movies. I mean, a lot of the Disney movies have Disney shorts.
Well, they
but
had
this
that other.
was-
There was another Frozen short already.
right
With the
a
with
couple
the
years
boogers,
ago.
with the
Yeah,
snow
the
boogers.
one with it was she had a cold on her birthday.
Yeah,
And she
what
kept
was that
sneezing
before?
and like little snowballs.
And this was Christmas. And it's just the best part is the stupid fucking snowman. But
Yeah.
even he couldn't save this thing.
Yeah.
And
It
my
has like
son-
3 songs in it, right?
are you kidding me? There was
That's what
like
I heard.
6 or 7.
Oh
like,
God.
Yeah, it
so
wouldn't
glad I didn't
stop.
make it. Coco was sold out, so I couldn't get to it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No,
Oh, okay.
because there's less show times because it has
Right.
a 20 minutes extra
But you
stuck on.
you posted on Facebook about how
Yeah.
they pulled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son. I mean, not to.
It's
I'm
boring.
pushing
It's
gender
boring
on
kids to
him
death.
or anything like that, but he fucking hates Frozen. He hates that doesn't like princesses, and he's going the traditional boy way of like, no, this is garbage, and he hated the singing.
I was worried that if I went with my daughters, they would love that part and be terrified of Coco because of all the death.
Right.
And so we didn't go because I was like, oh, they're going to
Yeah,
love
but-
the part I hate and hate the part I love.
Yeah, everybody says it's a real.
He really
hard
dug
to
Coco and wants
make
to
it
see it
through
again, and
not crying.
he's ecstatic that the Frozen. I told him today. I go, buddy, they pulled the Frozen thing, so we can go see Coco without the open, and he was like, yay!
There's got to be so many parents in that position.
Yeah, a lot.
Because those are also just diametrically opposed. I mean, Pixar.
I didn't hate Frozen. But
does its
this
own thing, yeah.
This thing just felt real calculated, and oh, he heard us talking.
Hey, Rhodes.
He comes in seething.
so
He
many
looks like
people
Kylo
complained.
Ren right now.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I know. It's very spooky,
What's going on?
serious.
Red rum.
It is Star Wars pajamas. Hey, buddy.
What's up?
What do you want to say about that Frozen? That frozen short or that frozen long that opened.
It was so stupid. And please.
Thanks,
Holy
buddy.
Oh boy.
He went Fred Flintstone on it.
He's not my son. I don't know where. Love you, buddy. Thank you. Let's get back into.
Yeah, you make it to the chamber. They open a big door with a bunch of magic locks on it. And they say, you've got a little less than an hour before you're going to, miss your window. And time will start slipping faster. So,
Into the future.
yeah.
Shoo the children. No
So they-
shoes on the feet.
So they open the door, and there's 2 magic torches. They're lit with purple flame. They kind of look almost as if they lit up the second the door opened.
Cool.
And in the middle of the room, there's just something that just sort of looks like the absence of light. Not quite a shadow, not quite there, but just like a rip in the air. It's kind of blinking and turning around.
Oh, so it's moving. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It's about humanoid sized. And as you approach, the 2 guards stand and say, you may approach. We don't recommend touching.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on what's her name.
But Luoven,
Yeah.
Me too.
she's just fascinated. She's not twitching anymore. She's like wide-eyed and her mouth is open and she's kind of like reaching her hands towards it.
No.
Make sure
No
doesn't-
touchy.
Make sure she doesn't do anything
Yeah,
stupid.
that's what I'm saying. No
Yeah,
touchy.
What?
we both have our
No
eyes on her.
we're keeping her from touching.
Why don't anyone who wants to try to stop her from walking right up to it do it?
Hold person on her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She's gonna do an attempt to save. She fails.
Should we just talk to her?
Goes, "Rup!" Actually, you cast hold person on her, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm just very curious.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes my emotions get the better of me. I'm very. Excuse me.
Well, he told us
Well,
not,
now
to, not
you-
to disturb the gods.
I wasn't going to disturb it. I just wanted to be close enough to commune with it. I'm very interested to see what will happen."
What part of hold person don't you understand?
The guards explain that they have a tradition amongst their people that they don't expect you to uphold, but they are able to talk to this god pretty much any time they want. But several people have asked the god questions and gone insane.
Oops.
So they are allowed 2 questions in their lifetime, and each time that they ask a question, they must remove an eye.
So they've all asked one question.
Out of respect for seeing everything, they deny themselves sight in the physical realm. So they say
Do
again,
one of us have to give up an eye?
they say
If
they
you
don't
ask a
expect
question.
you to follow the tradition, but that's the tradition. If you ask a question, you remove an eye.
I would think maybe also the tradition would be he pulls it out for you.
No, it's a sacrifice.
They say, no, it's a ritual we do back in our own planes. The
I
god won't reach out and rip an eye out, but
I would
it's,
love to ask them what their questions were.
the 2 guards.
Yeah. What they asked and what they learned.
Kexel said he asked what the meaning of life was, and he kind of laughs. He says that might seem childish, but he asked when he was very young.
It's important. It's an important question.
And he was told the meaning of life is to take it apart.
Okay.
And Vemin says when she got to ask the dead god a question, she asked what the god's name was. And the god told her, and she prefers to keep it to herself.
It's Jeff with a G. It's really pretentious.
Jeff.
But they say they're going to leave. If you need anything, they're going to travel just outside the door. But they are not.
The secret of life or the meaning of life is to tear it apart?
Yeah.
Say it.
They say it was a little
you
more
sure?
complicated than that.
I get the
Say it
feeling that
again
the
now.
god's name is Andrew
take it
WK.
Take it apart.
Yes.
Gotta party hard, party hard.
What else do we know about this god? And
Well,
Like,
the two guards are just kind
Trying
of
to figure out the whole dead god thing. Like, why is it dead?
What's that about, Loven? The taking life apart.
She says she doesn't know. If you'd like, she would be happy to ask the
She
god.
wants to commune with this thing.
Oh,
so
she
bad.
wants to talk to it.
Yeah,
She wants to talk to it for sure. Yeah.
So she might give up one of her eyes.
She says she's not going to give up her eyes. She just wants to ask some questions.
You can ask for
the
one.
guards-
What about these guys in their ritual?
Reminder: the guard said some people asked too many questions and went crazy, and
Right.
that
Yeah,
is
what do you-
why they began the tradition to limit themselves
Right.
Okay.
from becoming too ambitious.
I kind of like to see, I know I'm holding her. I kind of like to see her ask something.
I'm freaking kill the god.
She says, "Whatever you want. I've got my own questions. I'll ask all the questions
She
you
can
want."
ask without moving, right?
I would think.
Do you want to ask her to ask
Yeah.
something?
Go ahead and ask a question.
She says, "Do you want me to ask one of my questions, or do you want me to ask a question for you? Because out of respect, I'd be happy to ask one of yours, but I have so many questions of my own."
I'd like to know what one of your questions is.
Okay. She immediately turns to the rip in the air and says, "What is your name? I want to know your name as well." And you hear sort of a murmuring, and the woman says, "Oh, it told me in my mind. It told me in my mind.
And what was the name?
Zinzarina."
Why do we know that?
Oh, wasn't that the woman in the hut? The woman that owned the hut or not?
The dwarves?
With the statues that looked at us?
Yeah.
Jesus. Please, if only there was a way to. You think that's true? I mean, the name rang a bell the second he said it.
Yeah.
Your players are very old, and Blaine and I have smoked a lot of pot in our lives. I don't know what Ken's excuse is, but our brains. Zinzarina.
I will say
Can you remind
Zaywin
us?
was the old drow that you
Okay. But where did we hear this name before? Oh,
I will
Can
say
I
this. You
remember?
have definitely
Can-
heard it before.
yeah. Can
Yeah.
Bodhi remember? Why?
These characters have not encountered Zinzarina before.
What does that mean? These.
But
we've only played-
at the wedding, was it?
No.
But we were those
Wait a minute.
characters. We've always been these characters, even in the.
Hang on, though. Was it?
Oh, so could it be not in this
Yeah.
reality? So it could be in one of our Danger Room games?
Or perhaps another campaign.
Another campaign, yeah.
You mean back to old Nerd Poker?
Yes.
Shit. That's why it rings a bell.
Quick, write in and tell us.
Hey. Oh my God.
Answers next-ish.
All right. Were we not supposed to remember that name?
You could,
maybe?
no.
Oh, yeah, but
It's there for fun.
okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't remember it.
I'll throw you this
drow name.
bone. It's a drow god.
Shit.
I remember some drow gods getting prayed to.
There's like a nice solid 20% of our listeners who are
Oh,
like,
is
die.
Sarah's god.
Oh, was it? Or no, your
Or your
character.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
your
yeah,
character's
that's it.
god. What was your character that you played?
Nausicaa.
Nausicaa. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Finally.
I remember that.
All right. Yeah. That's why. And so it was a drow god. Well, it still is a drow god. Yeah. Okay, cool.
A dead one.
Drow
Right.
god to drow god to drow god.
Cool.
So
Well, what else,
Llewellyn,
Llewellyn?
She might go
she says,
insane if
"Do
she
you
has
want to
say
turn?
anything
Do you
else.
want to turn?" I'm afraid once I get started, I won't be able to stop.
Well,
What is this, the god of Pringles?
We didn't. She was the one who wanted to meet him.
Yeah, I mean. Mm-hmm. You want to ask?
Do we
wanna
have
ask about
anything?
Nausicaa?
I wonder if these guys can go back in time to a point when this god isn't dead.
Is that what you want to know?
Well, how did it? Do we know how it died?
you don't?
You have to ask.
What?
You have to ask.
How did you die? Ask it, or do
you
we
asked.
want to have
No,
a
you
better
asked.
question than that? What do you think? You want to ask yours?
What do we want to ask this
I
thing?
don't know.
Who played Eddie Haskell in Leave to Beaver? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Who dies in Infinity Wars?
Man, Moon Knight better be in that fucking movie. I swear.
Is Oasis really going to keep
Everyone's in
fighting,
that
or are they
movie.
going to get
It
back?
looks like it.
I know you feel Disney
gonna-
trying to buy out 20th Century Fox in time to stick Wolverine in that thing at the
There's
last
definitely
second.
going to be more than they're showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Freddy Krueger is going to be there, Iron Giant, the car from Back to the Future.
That's a different movie directed by Mr. Spielberg.
Ash versus Aliens versus Predator.
Versus Kramer.
So Forenmeyer is with you. The other elves kind of hovering outside the door because they're a little spooked. Forenmeyer says, I would like to know a question. I'm happy to ask without the help of this weird witch that you found in the woods.
Don't go crazy.
Does Lou
He
Evans
says-
say anything?
He says, I really only have one question. That is, what happened to my people that were left behind in the woods? And you hear a murmur, and Forenmeyer bows his head and says, it seems that for all intents and purposes, my people have been wiped out.
Well, that's unfortunate.
All the more reason to go back in time, he says.
Yeah. All right. We got anything else for this dead god?
Yeah, do we want to ask it how it died? Or how to bring it back? Or if it... that's too many questions.
How does this world end?
Tell me, for the sake of being your dungeon master, when you say this world, do you mean the drow world, Amynna, or the planet?
The planet.
Let's say how does this planet end? I mean, Amynna is just part of this world, and the drow world is underneath. This is all one world. How does this world end?
Bodhi and Tom, you just hear sort of just like garbled noises, but in your head, Twee, you hear the air will escape, the ground will break and crumble. There will be only a god where this planet once was, and it will be the Demelith.
Oh, so there's no
I
way.
covered my ears when Dan talked, so what did he say? What did you hear?
He said that Crispin Glover is going to come back from the new Charlie's Angels movie. And he's going to play the guy that died. I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
I didn't know they were doing another Charlie's Angels movie.
That's what I just found out from this god.
Wow. It's been a long time since the last one.
He said that at the end of the run of this planet, the planet's gone. The god the only thing that remains is the Demelith, which leads me to believe that there's a future that either we have to change or we can't change.
Well, let's try. Still.
Any more questions for
Don't
the
let
dead
that
god?
discourage us.
We're going back in time. Bring my daddy back.
You guys hear murmurs. Tom, you hear very clearly in your mind. Well, actually, when you say bring her back, what do you mean?
The way she was before.
The way she was before. She says, the god in your head. Oh God, what's the best way to word this? Because that's a great question, and I have answers as the dungeon master. Yes, you would have to go very far back. And then you hear or, and then there's just a trailing off.
Okay. Sounds dead god.
What'd you hear? I covered my ears again.
Yeah, I
What
have to
did
go. Then I have to go very far back, or something.
And then God went into a parking structure. hey, maybe you should ask it how we defeat the Demelith.
Oh, yeah. Let's ask one more question before Llewellyn goes nuts.
Yeah, Llewellyn was like, you asked that, and then just let me maybe ask one more. Just one more.
Okay.
So you asked that. Is this your second question, Twee?
I'll ask this one.
Yeah, I don't think you've asked yet. Once people start asking a second question, then something different's going to happen.
Okay, I'll ask this one.
How to defeat the Demelith?
Yeah.
Again, murmurs for you two. But Bodhi, you hear in your head, right now the Demelith is invincible for mortal means. Were you to go back far enough, he would be no stronger than one of those vampires you have already defeated.
Oh,
How do we know how far enough? Okay, so
We do.
I tell you what he just told me. You hear that?
Yeah, Llewellyn knows how far back we need to go.
We do. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dead God.
That's Boogie.
Zim Zarina.
Llewellyn says,
Zim Zabadoo.
Zim Zabadoo. Llewellyn says, I just want to ask
It's too dangerous. We can't lose
one more question.
We can't. It's you can't.
No,
He
Llewellyn.
says, don't you want to know what happened to Nettie? Don't you want to know what happened to her?
You're not going to ask that. What is she going to...
I'll find that out on my own.
Do we need Llewellyn for that? Llewellyn, we need you for this. Don't...
Let's just
don't
leave.
do
Let's
something
get out of
like-
here.
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea.
All right, off we go.
First, Llewellyn's going to do
Can
a
you hold
roll.
her? We'll hold her.
I'm already doing a whole person.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
but doesn't keep her
she's
from
got to do
asking.
like a willpower
Yeah.
Put it...
saving throw type situation. Yeah, she's okay. She really wants to help you ask about Nettie, though.
I know.
Nah.
You told her that trailing off on the ore happened, and she's like, but there's more here. There's more.
Well, you help me find out what it is, but we got to do it someplace else.
All right, so you're all leaving with just one answer in your pocket.
Yes.
You head out the door, and the drow guards say, did you get what you wanted?
We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Say, very well. We should probably head back the way you came. Hopefully the cave will no longer be caved in, but we can't guarantee you exactly when you're coming out. We do think it will be about, 15 days have passed based on how deep we went and how long we've been here. So let's not tarry. Let's.
Well, how many days did we want to spend down here?
It's about that long.
As long as we're
Okay.
yeah. When the guy got here.
So you skedaddle, and Kexel and Vemin walk you basically to the door and say, when you return, you may encounter us, you may not, for we are unstuck in time, and it is our burden to remain in the Underdark. Best of luck with this whole Demelith situation. Should you need more of us, you should know there is more. There is. How should I put this? There is more we could perhaps do, but certainly not this time. We can't accompany you above ground.
We very much appreciate your help.
So they sort of bolt the door behind you. They shut the window for the eye holes. And
Thanks, guys.
where are we at with time, Sam?
We have 13 minutes.
Cool. So you head back up through the tunnel. It takes a while because you got to wind up, and now you're going uphill. And I don't know if you guys have ever been hiking in the Hollywood Hills, but boy, oh boy, going uphill is just not as fun.
Oh, my calves.
So hope you all had a
I like to do
banana.
it backwards.
Got your potassium up so your hamstrings don't get all cramped. And you get above ground, and yeah, things seem a little less apocalyptic. There's an opening. The cave looks like
There's a pinkberry. Wow, how far did we go back?
And you can see the spires that were sticking out of the ocean that came to life, and they're no longer swatting at you like a big old stone golem. It's just sort of serenely poking out of the water. You think you hear crickets.
Am I doing my act?
You hear the wave of the ocean hit the shore again and again, and
Let's head towards the dock.
County of Blankapatch.
Hey, everybody, where are you going?
Foreignmeyer says, "Yeah, I'm a little weirded out by all this, but if the time works the way they said it would, then I suppose, yes, let's follow the coastline back to the dock.
We have all time to lose. Go kill this guy before he eats his spinach.
Formeyer recommends you mark this on your map. This is sort of an important spot, and you don't have to literally do it, but I'll show you where it is. It is, see the rock sticking out of the water with a face on it? Yeah. You are right there, right where, see where there's like a little black crease that's where the cave is. Oh, okay. So you're going to have a big trip around the marshes of Golduz. It's going to take you a couple of days, actually. But
so you told our artist to draw those? That's amazing.
Sean Bryant rules. I sent him a version of this that was really ugly but had words and markings all over it, and he translated it wonderfully. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He drew like a big version of it and then zoomed it down. So
crazy.
There's a lot of little notches in there that are actual things. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
So while you're kind of traveling, Formeyer says, we could take a shortcut through the marshes of Golduz.
I don't like shortcuts through marshes of Golduz.
Well, it's not as bad now.
Gago says, that's where my clan is.
See?
I could
guide us.
Maybe we could bump into my clan. The Fudge Pharaohs.
What do we remember about the marshes? When was the last time we went through there?
We were just there. Before.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's where the Demelith's castle is. That's where Count Fenzin is.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. But this is 15 days earlier. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
see what it's like.
Go through and see if Gago sees his clan.
Yeah?
Right? I mean, we're on our way. It's not going to cut into our
let's
time.
give Gago a little tweak.
Or should we go around it? Twee?
Let's go through the marshes of Golduz. Why not? Okay. Let's have a little fun. Let's throw a little bone to Gago. We're gonna go visit your fam. We're gonna hang out.
No, we can't hang out.
Go up to the coast.
We got to get to the coast.
We're
going to the coast. Yeah,
we got to go to the coast and have a few laughs. Definitely.
Does Gago think we're gonna have an easy time going through here?
Go out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs. He says, "Nah, man. If my crew's there, I ain't worried about shit."
You're so not helpful. All right. Let's do it.
I mean, in that moment, you do kind of like see this sort of. You ever meet somebody from how do I put this? They just seem really dumb, and like you've been hanging out with them for a couple hours, and it's been a good time, but then suddenly like it hits 2 a.m. and you realize like they're a real dumb person. You do kind of like when he says everything's gonna be fine, you do kind of just see like a glaze over Gago's eyeballs.
Gago.
And you're reminded that he is evil and kind of carefree and chaotic and doesn't really give a shit.
All right, let's not then. Let's go around.
Yeah.
Let's go around.
All right. Yeah. Let's go around.
I feel like that would be easy to see with him because he is very gregarious and doesn't give a shit, but also like.
But that answer gave me all I needed to know.
Well, Formeyer says, and he would have said this anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you since you're not going. He'll be a little more emphatic and says, "Yeah, I mean, we could have cut through there, but if that's Gago's home, I mean, Gago's in there also, right? I don't know a lot. I haven't seen a lot of Back to the Future sequels or anything, but yeah. Like I don't know.
It all depends on what kind of time travel you're doing
or what day it is.
Yeah.
If Gago was traveling with you, you could be a couple miles away with him at this point. We don't.
Sometimes you can touch each other. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can help each other. Sometimes you gotta hide in the back part of the scene from the last movie.
Let's see. You guys see just sort of a bunch of weird black crabs on the beach. Nothing really remarkable. And then you kind of get to the southern border of the marshes of Golduz. You haven't been there before, so you really have to look at your map a lot. This is where you did cut through the marshes last time, so now you realize you're kind of between the Hills of Hope and the marshes, and there's kind of like a little bit of a claustrophobic vibe you get. There's almost a point where you guys have to walk single file to avoid walking in the marshes because they're up against these sort of hill faces, cliff faces, and like you're kind of like, want to keep seeing the sky, want to keep our eyes on the mist and not in the trees.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say you get about that far, and then you definitely, start looking over into the woods, and everybody roll a perception check, please.
12.
13.
14.
6 plus. Oh wait, no, that's a 9.
I'm gonna give your more prominent NPCs a real roll, and just do the rest on an algorithm.
Is 11 enough for me?
No.
No bonus?
Yeah,
Yeah,
does
that was
Vody have a
with bonus.
with bonus? Yeah. So,
on perception, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Llewellyn says, I believe we're being watched. I don't know if we should stop, but something in the marshes is tracking us.
How big? How many?
I see one at the corner of my vision.
How big?
Seems sort of smaller than a human. Maybe in the trees.
Did Gagos leave us again and come flying at us, and we'll stab at him? No, he's still with us. Right?
I'm right here, man.
Okay, good.
No, it's not me. It's bigger. It sounds like it's bigger
Don't
than
fly
I
away
am.
and look like a beetle again.
Okay. I mean, it'd be pretty funny if you did it a third time. Now, that's comedy.
You think it'd be funny? Then I'll do it.
Not for you.
It's a lot of comedic geniuses have said comedies in threes. I mean, I'm just. If you want me to go scout it out and take like
they're
an
right.
episode to come back,
They are right, but I don't want you to die.
Let's keep walking. See if it does anything.
It does. So you make it pretty far east. You're at the point where you're about to break the path between the marshes and the hills into sort of a beeline for the dock, like where it's just sort of from here to here. A couple of football fields, and you all this time notice at the edge of the woods there's definitely like multiple shapes kind of peering from between the trees, and you guys got dark vision, so you can see pretty clearly that it's some kind of shadows, but they have like texture to them, and like
Textured shadows.
there's
Does
magical.
Loven know what area we're in, or who these people
Yeah,
might
she's
be?
like, you're real close to the docks, but it feels as if there is some sort of dark magical creatures.
Who is they?
Well, we can keep heading towards the docks, or we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, let's keep going.
They don't follow you out of the marshes, but you definitely get the impression that you've been spied on. You get to the docks, and all is quiet. The mist is a little heavier at the docks. And you sort of just hang out for a while. It's not entirely clear what you should do. You notice you look kind of over a hill, and you don't
So
see
it's like before we got here, right?
and you don't see an encampment. You don't see any signs. I'll give you a quick refresher. The first time you went back in time, you didn't see like any encampment, almost as if there had never been one. So you feel like maybe you beat the most recent encampment. Right. And also, when you fast forwarded time, you came back, the encampment had sort of been burned to the ground.
Right. But this we don't see any.
You don't see anything at the moment.
Yeah, freak out.
Will you guys do a perception check? And I'll let you know right now it's a difficulty 18.
Well, that is a high difficulty.
19.
Oh,
Me too.
Yay!
cool. Well, then I'll just let you two be.
I'm just wandering around.
You guys, once again, Tom, you just fold your arms and think about Nettie.
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 The Woven turns to you and says, "What would you have asked about Nettie if you could ask the dead god one more question?"
Who killed her? My baby.
Watching you purse your lips for that last line is weird. So, Bodhi, Twee, you think right in the mists you see a large shape kind of circling.
Is it horror?
If you listen really closely, you think you hear kind of a and I think we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Oh, could we be seeing the Demelith?
Who the fuck knows?
God,
it's
if,
a big bird.
if only we weren't gonna.
Big bird.
If only we weren't gonna play another episode in 10 minutes.
Hey, I haven't given a proper shout out to our t-shirt shop. I said to look it up on social media, but everybody.
Are those all up?
So we have
our
one
first-
up. Right now, go to Near Mint merch, as in near mint condition, nearmintmerch.com/nerdpoker. I don't think I've given the URL out, basically. I've just always said look at the social media shit. Nearmintmerch.com/nerdpoker. It's a really great place that Rick Remender hooked us up with because he sells shirts from his comic books to these guys. We got our own shop. Right now, it's just the Viking dude shirt, but we've got the...
With my face.
With Brian Posehn's face. But we've got another design that's going to go up. Brian just thumbed up. We've got a remake of the dice. It's just a big dice and says Nerd Poker under it. Our logo designer, Aaron English, did another pass at it, and it looks really cool. So keep an eye there. We're going to be selling that shirt hopefully by the time you guys hear this in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We're taping this a couple weeks in advance, but
But
please
if
go
not,
check it out.
the current Nerd Poker with my face is a great
It's
Christmas
also-
gift to
Go buy
to a
it.
nerd. Is this before Christmas? This episode?
It's
or
the week
right
before Christmas.
Week before.
It's not too late. Also,
Yeah, get it.
elderwoodacademy.com/nerdpoker. Go buy some Elderwood
And
Academy
also,
stuff. And,
Buy The Last Christmas from Image Comics, done by Jerry Duggan and myself,
and Rick, right?
and Rick, a long time ago. But the hardcover is available on Amazon, and it's awesome. It's got
It is.
Jeff Darrow art,
Dead Elves.
Tony from
Moore?
Tony Moore from Walking Dead did a couple of
I love
covers.
Tony
Kieran
Moore, yeah.
Dwyer did a cover for us, and it's hilarious.
It is.
Santa getting wasted and drinking syrup off his tits. That's just the.
I texted you. I found a copy of Last Christmas in the Mad archives.
Oh,
It was
nice.
I don't know how this got here, but it was pretty cool.
Nice to see it.
All the pages stuck together too. It was weird.
And we're still trying to make a movie out of that thing. So hopefully I'll have news for that soon. But
Ooh.
But at this point, buy the book. It's a great Christmas reading. Read it around the tree and make your grandma not like you anymore. Thanks for listening to episode 35.
Subscribe to Mad Magazine, please.
Oh, yeah.
Skeletor's dick.
Oh, thank you, Skeletor's dick.
Print is not dead, and also Skeletor's dick.
It looks dead because it's bones, but it ain't.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to another episode of Nerd Poker. You can follow us at patreon.com/nerdpoker, and you get bonus episodes from there. And you can also send us anything at P.O. Box 16069, Encino, California 91416. Thanks for listening.